reality is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. Woo! Hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine Friday night as we go into a 2-hour fun fest of paranormal hijinks and strangeness. The kind of stuff you've grown to come to expect here on the Paranormal Portal. And by God, we're serving it up fresh every time we're live. So welcome, everybody. Hope you had a great week. You made it. It's Friday. The weekend can now commence. And a special thank you to all of you who are joining us, taking a little bit of your weekend and spending it right here. And it means the world to us, of course. I forgot to turn the moon on. Uh-oh, the moon's not on. There's got to be a moon in the night sky, doesn't there, Don?
Yes.
Because it's not changing color.
Blue moon.
One more. There we go. Which I guess brings me to my next point. Let me introduce my good friend and co-host, the Big Toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard. Welcome.
Yeah.
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 Try to contain yourself, Don.
Yeah.
I know this is a big event, but
it is. Yeah. It's like finally being released from prison. Especially when you come here right after work.
Yeah,
it feels like I'm released from prison.
Having worked in a prison, I can tell you that feels really great.
You know what the funny thing is? I used to be in the hotel business, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what the difference between a hotel and prison is?
The fact that the guests don't try to kill you.
At the hotels, we only take your money.
Ooh.
Ba-da-ba.
What's that? Ba-dum-bum.
In a prison, we take everything.
That's true. That is true.
God, oh gosh.
And
even I didn't get any action from Mr. XCO over there.
I got. I'm kind of always. I'm a little slow out of the gate, oftentimes on jokes. I'll be the first to admit that as things go right over. But I'm good at the finish. But I'm just not good out of the gate. So. But anyway, we've got a lot of paranormal to bring you, and hopefully you're in the mood to be entertained. As always, throughout the course of our shows, the phone call line is open, and you can dial in if you've got something paranormal of your own to share, because we love to hear from you guys. And the number, of course, is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Those are the number for fun right here on the portal. So if you call, we'll do our best to answer, but please wait till after the news, because that's going to be the lead-in, as always, on our Friday night show. Are you ready, Don?
Yeah, as long as they don't put that number on the bathroom wall, we'll be fine.
For a good time call. All right.
News.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Mr. Brent Thomas.
And I'm not.
And he's not. He's not me. He's his own person, which is, of course, Don Longbeard. In the co-anchor shot, we are going to do some news stories. Got a couple recent ones. Are we showing T-shirts?
Yeah. What you got? Oh, you got your. I
got the Cade Moya Believe.
He's repping the Aussies.
I'm trying to bring it home from down under. Thank you.
Oh,
We are going to do some news here. I got some stories pulled up. I had to pull a bunch of them out of the archives because, quite frankly, we've covered most of the current news that I can find. So I found a couple of things that might be interesting, though, here that are more current, and then we'll go into their archives of fun. And the first one, let me close their embedded ad there, is coming from, of course, unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. And this is really pretty interesting. I never heard of this before, but apparently in Egypt, there's a controversy surrounds claim that a second Sphinx has been found.
You know, I've always wondered about that.
Really?
Yeah, because there was something I read a long time ago that postulated a possibility of another Sphinx. Sphinx.
I've often heard
seriously.
I've often heard you were fascinated with sphincters. I mean, sphinxes.
It's because of this. I was reading this. This is why.
Yeah.
So
That'll do you wrong.
It's science experiments.
Yep. So you had heard about this though?
Yeah, actually, no, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. I think I was right. There was like this book. It was like the 8 Mysteries of the World, or the Mysteries of the World, and they had like the Sphinx, the Colossus, the Sphinx,
the Hanging Gardens,
the
and
Hanging
stuff.
Gardens.
Yep.
Yeah, those. Yeah, the 8 Mysteries of the Ancient World.
Right.
But like 5 of those are now gone. So
Sure.
But it was postulated about a second Sphinx.
Well, let's check out this article and see what they say. I hope it's not really long. Not too bad. All right. It says the claim, which has been heavily refuted, comes courtesy of a prominent Egyptian tourism official. The Sphinx remains one of the most recognizable relics of the ancient world, a giant 20-meter tall statue with the head of a human, the body of a lion, and the wings of a falcon. Recently, however, Rida Abdel Halim, who is the director of public relations for the Giza Pyramids District at the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, has sparked controversy and debate by claiming that archaeologists had unearthed the second Sphinx of a similar size to the first. Zagazig University research paper, he argues, has been published confirming the discovery. Not everyone, however, agrees with his assessment, with many officials and archaeological leaders denying that anything of this nature had been found. Famed archaeologist and former Minister of Antiquities Zahi Hawass, who would normally have been all over a discovery like this, has stated that the claim is completely not true, and that no such research has been conducted or published by the Zagazig University.
Fake news.
Fake news, huh? The Sphinx is unique in Egypt and in the world, he told Al Monitor. Any talk about discoveries of other similar statues is baseless and has only one purpose, which is creating media fanfare. He certainly has a point. To date, there's never been any evidence of another Sphinx, let alone one as large as the existing statue and situated in a region so heavily explored and excavated. During the many years I headed the Giza Pyramids area, we worked along Egyptian and foreign experts and archaeologists, scanning the entire area, and I can assure you there's not another statue of the Sphinx, said Hawass. Antiquities media advisor Nevin Al-Arif has also played down the claim as baseless. The statue in question was discovered a long time ago in the area and has nothing to do with the original Sphinx, he said. It is nothing but a normal statue. As things stand, however, Halim remains adamant that what he is saying is true. Well, there you go. I guess time will tell, or maybe it'll just get buried. I don't know.
Hawass was it disinformation?
Hawass, yeah. I remember him coming up on several things that were real questionable. And
yes.
Just
the tomb of Osiris. You got to be joking me.
Well, at any rate, folks, there's a claim that there may be a second Sphinx somewhere underneath the sands of Egypt.
Maybe around Hawass's Uranus.
By his sphincter.
His sphincter.
I don't know where it is, but at least that's the claim. And now you've heard about it too, if you hadn't before.
You know, yeah, but I'm all for, you know, there possibly being another one.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if one is good too, it's got to be better. But you got to wonder now if there is a second one. Is the reason they're keeping that a secret because that's the one that has the archives underneath. Ooh. Just saying. I don't know. There's always a control of information, and anytime that comes up,
right?
With that's the first thing I think is like, why wouldn't they want people to know? And that may be just why.
Knowledge is power, and
it is.
That is some knowledge there.
That would be some really interesting knowledge. I mean, that would rival the library of at Alexandria, you know, that was burned.
It's
so
not very far away from Alexandria.
Right, but it doesn't exist anymore because it burned and was, didn't Nero burn it or who burned the
it was Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great burned the
No.
I don't know who burned it, but it burned. It's no longer obviously around.
For some reason, I blank.
All of the known information in the world at that time was stored in this library, and it is now gone. So maybe the whole idea that the Sphinx hold these treasures as well would be kind of cool. Who knows? I guess time will tell, folks. But the next article on our list of fun tonight here on the portal is, again, coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. If you get a chance, check out this site, folks. Again, it's unexplained-mysteries.com. Really great site. I really love this site. This is, if we live in a simulation, how much computer memory does it need?
Oh, no doubt. Julius Caesar, by the way.
Julius Caesar?
Yeah.
Really?
That's what it says.
Wow. Okay. I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have guessed that, I guess. Storing a simulation of the universe is likely to require a lot more memory than the average video game. Oh, really?
No kidding.
What if I told you that the world you live in isn't real? It might sound like a concept straight out of a Keanu Reeves science fiction favorite, The Matrix, but according to some of the world's top minds, the idea that we are living inside of a sophisticated computer simulation is not only possible, it may actually be more likely than the idea that we are living in a real world. But, like all computer programs, such computer simulation which would presumably include the entire observable universe, would have to be stored somewhere. Intrigued by the possibility, physicist Melvin Vobson, wow, I can say I've never seen that last name before today. Vobson, from the University of Portsmouth, is sought to calculate just how much computer memory the entire universe would actually require. To do this, he started by first determining how much information there is in a single subatomic particle, and then multiplied this by an estimate for the total number of particles in the universe. This calculation comes to a rather ridiculous 10 to the 93rd power bits, or 600 million trillion needed to store the entire universe in a complete memory.
Settle down, deep think.
Yeah.
Wow.
32. 42. Yeah, I'm not deep think. I'm little think. I got it wrong. Of course, if we're living in a computer simulation, it's likely to be one created by a much more advanced civilization, or even our future selves. Well, God, let's hope it's not running on Windows.
No, Google runs it now.
Yeah. Meaning that such levels of computer storage might not be particularly excessive or unachievable. As things stand, it's a bit like trying to imagine how the latest big-budget video game, which can exceed 100 gigabyte in size, could be stored in the memory of an old 1980s 8-bit home computer. Well, I'm here to tell you it can't.
You never know. I mean, you know, advanced intelligences might have it down to where they could fit the entire, you know, because
right.
Look at what we do. Look at how fast all of our memory gets. You know, we went from 8, 16, 64, you know, all the way up. We're hitting, terabytes, teraflops.
Yep.
You know, so come on. I mean, that was only 20 years.
Yeah, it's hard. And maybe they could store the entire amount on an atom, for all we know. I mean, you know, when you're looking at, subatomic, the quantum, maybe they can record it all quantumly, and it doesn't actually take up any space.
Yeah, no doubt.
Interestingly enough, but there you go, folks. That was probably a colossal waste of all of our time, but
Probably.
it's like, what? Who cares how much it costs to store it?
I think Rachel is right again.
Uh-huh.
She says the second Sphinx may be sitting in a replica of an ancient cardboard box.
Oh, that would do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just peeking through the hand.
Yeah. His little Sphinx paw coming out once in a while.
Gigi just changed her last name to Vompson.
Vopson. Nice. Well, in keeping things current and relevant, thank you. Now I've seen it twice. There you go for the simulation. Let's go on to the next one and see what the next one is, because I don't even remember. And this is one from the archives. We're hitting the archives now. We only had 2 actual new stories to go through, so let's hit some old ones here.
Sure.
And this one is from unexplained-mysteries.com, and it's from June 18th of 2016. It says, woman is stalked by a wolf for over 12 hours.
Wow.
That's got to be creepy. That's got to be creepy.
Especially if it looks like a dire wolf.
Yeah, no kidding. It says Joanne Barnaby had been picking mushrooms when she encountered a deadly and persistent adversary.
What kind of mushrooms were they?
Yeah, that kind of makes you imagine big wolves.
Qualify this.
It had been an otherwise uneventful excursion into the remote Canadian wilderness when Barnaby, who had been accompanied by her dog Joey, turned to see a black wolf growling at her menacingly. Taking flight, she and her faithful canine companion headed through the forest in an attempt to escape the animal, only to find that it had started following them wherever they went. The chase would ultimately continue for more than 12 hours, with Barnaby becoming increasingly lost in the wilderness as she tried desperately to shake off the wolf as it continued to stalk her. The shadow of night did little to dissuade her pursuer, and her plight soon transformed into a deadly game of cat and mouse as the wolf tried its best to separate her from her dog as they fled. Eventually, as the first rays of morning crept across the sky and exhausted to the point of collapse, Barnaby heard the sound of a mother bear calling for its cub somewhere nearby. Thinking fast, she decided to position herself between the mother and its cub and the hope that the bear would scare the wolf away, a plan which could have easily seen her intact instead.
Yep.
Luckily, her gamble paid off, and the bear went for the wolf, allowing Barnaby a chance to escape. She was later picked up by a rescue team and is expected to make a full recovery. Wow, that is really bizarre.
Yeah, especially jumping in between, a cub and her.
Right.
And a mama.
Right. Oof.
Wow.
That's weird. There's a couple of werewolf stories here. I'm gonna have to hold on to this and maybe use them for a future venture into the paranormal portal.
Well, you know what? I'd click and bring up one of those other ones, the werewolf ones, so you don't forget why you were on that page to begin with.
Oh, I won't forget, Don. I never forget anything.
Yeah, how can you tell? You've got 400 tabs open.
That's why I needed 64 gigs of RAM.
You're no kidding.
Here we go from unexplained-mysteries.com is our next article. And this guy I've heard of before, and this is from May 14th, 2016. But this guy is really something. And Don, you were familiar with him as well.
Yeah.
But this is a superhuman runner, can jog 350 miles nonstop. Wow.
Yeah.
And it says Dean Carnazes has a rare genetic condition that enables him to run continuously for days at a time. Would you mind shutting that? This is starting to maul.
Yep.
He's doing this little new thing where he likes to howl like he wants to go outside. And I don't know what's happened, but he's growing increasingly persistent. It says the 53-year-old athlete is certainly no stranger to endurance running, having competed in some of the world's toughest races, including one which took him across the frozen wastes of Antarctica.
Wow.
He has completed 50 marathons in 50 days across 50 U.S. states, and on one occasion even ran nonstop for a staggering 80 hours over a distance of 350 miles without stopping to sleep.
Wow.
Jeez.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, Carnazes maintains that his superhuman endurance can be attributed to a rare condition that enables his body to rapidly flush lactic acid from his system faster than it can build up. At a certain level of intensity, I do feel like I can go a long way without tiring, he said. No matter how hard I push, my muscles never seize up. That's the kind of a nice thing if I plan to run a long way. Despite doing well at sports and school, Karnazes didn't pursue running seriously until he was 30. I don't care how fast I go, he said. I care about how far I go. Wow, that's really cool. Isn't there like a tribe in, I don't know, South America or is it Africa where these people can run?
Yeah, Kenya.
Is it, well, Kenya, they got a lot of runners too, yeah, but I thought there was a tribe in like the Mexico or Central America that could run, literally around the clock.
I don't know that one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they would run through the night and into the next day as part of their coming of age things or whatever, or whatever. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing a lot of things here, but I think this guy's really amazing. And these are the kind of cool things, folks, because maybe it's a peek into what is possible, what we are possible, what is possible for us to accomplish. Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to just edit that and everybody. And soon you can run all night too if you want. I'm just saying. Might come in handy. If you got an angry ex, you got to keep moving.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that one. Let's get to the next one here. On our list of fun here in the Paranormal Portal, we got 6 minutes. Looks like we're going to be about right.
Sweet.
This one is weird. This one's from May 2nd. 2016.
Well, duh. Where else would that happen?
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Sure does.
And this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Elephant is spotted flying over Disney. May 2nd, 2016. Visitors to the popular theme park were amazed to see an elephant flying high above the attractions. Egad, in a scene reminiscent of the Disney animated classic Dumbo, an animatronic elephant from the park's jungle cruise ride was lifted back to its original position by helicopter on Wednesday after being taken away to have its neck repaired back at the beginning of the year. Well, that's a lot less incredible than what it sounded like.
Well, but from a distance, it would look different.
It really does look like looks like a real elephant, doesn't it? Wow. The elephant flying doesn't look like Dumbo, but being placed somewhere inside of Disneyland Park. While the model elephant might not have flown using its ears like its cartoon counterpart, the sight of it soaring through the clouds above the park certainly gave visitors something to write home about.
Yeah, no doubt.
There you have it, folks. Truly was a flying elephant in 2016. So we got that going for us. Let's get to the next one here. And the next one here is our last one for our news segment for the night. And then we got some time before the break, because we're heading towards the break, folks. It's coming at breakneck speed, which makes sense, right? Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Here's a sweet one. I think these stories are sweet, having to do with pets when they become lost or whatever, that they cross these great distances to find their way home. And that's what happened to this dog from unexplained-mysteries.com. This article is from April 25th, 2016. It says, dog travels 240 miles to his former home. That's pretty amazing that they could navigate that.
Yeah.
An adventurous sheepdog has managed to make his way hundreds of miles to the home of his former owners. 4-year-old Pero was given, isn't that Mexican or Spanish for dog?
Well,
Pero?
It has
Pero.
to be spelled with 2 R's. Because you got to roll. So 2 R's represents the rolling of the R. But yes, that's essentially correct, yeah.
Okay. Was given to a farmer in Cockermouth. Sorry. You'd think I'd be a little more mature than that, but nope.
Don's refraining.
Don, you're actually restrained? Wow. That baffles me more than the name of that town.
Cockermouth disappeared. Cockermouth disappeared.
The dog disappeared on April 8th.
Oh, the dog disappeared.
Yeah, only to reappear 240 miles away at Alan and Shan James Farm near Aberystwyth 2 weeks later. The farmer in Cockermouth was looking for a dog that could round sheep and follow a quad bike, and we thought Pero would be ideal for the job, said Mrs. James. We'd been told that Pero had disappeared, but then last Wednesday evening, April 20th, my husband Alan went out to check on the animals after supper, and there was Pero on our doorstep. How the dog had managed to track down his old home over hundreds of miles remains a complete mystery, and the couple are now looking for anyone who might have seen him during his trip. When he came back, he wasn't hungry or weak, so he must have managed to find food somewhere, said Mrs. James. He must have stopped in places along the way. It's a total mystery to us how Pero has managed to find his way back to us.
He's a sheepdog.
I know,
Those
but-
sheepdogs are somewhat amazing.
So do you wonder, did they keep him then? Because obviously the dog wanted to be there. Yeah. I mean, is that like, hey, sorry, you don't get your dog. It's going to be our dog now because he came home. Finders keepers or something. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but that's pretty
kind of cool. Yeah.
It is. It's sweet that he went so far to get home.
Yeah, but then he looks up. You know, the old owners open the door and go, "Oh, well, hey," and he looks up and goes, "Why? Why did you give me away? I loved you."
It's like the
God.
parents with the 30-year-old living in the basement. It's like, didn't you leave already? All right, but in any case, that's the story of Pero the dog and his incredible journey across the country and back to his home. So that's pretty sweet. But again, the phone lines are going to be open for the rest of the show now, folks. So if you've got something paranormal that you'd love to share, you're like, God, I really should call into the show and share my paranormal thing.
Oh, God.
Well, tonight is a great night. It's a great night for you to call. So feel free to do that. And you can reach us by dialing 720-923-0500. The phone lines will be open throughout the rest of the journey, as I said, and we're edging towards the break right now, so we're almost there. But, something's happening.
I was just wondering if Cockermouth's anywhere near the Sphinx. Sphinx.
I don't know. I'm going to pretend I didn't even hear any of that. I think this is the safest path forward at this point. But ladies and gentlemen, this is concluding our news. Let me conclude this before it goes all the way in the drain. So there you have it, folks. I knew Don couldn't hold it in for long. It had to happen. It had to bubble to the surface. It's too late. We've lost him.
Oh, no.
It's another casualty of bad jokes.
I'm trying so hard not to make a Biden joke.
Oh, I know. Oh, dear God. Yeah, definitely don't do that. We got to steer clear of all that friction.
I'm turning off my microphone.
And that you did. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our first break of the night, so I hope you're ready for a lot more fun because that's what we got on the schedule in just moments here after the break. So just grab a drink, relax, pull up a blanket, and we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't go away. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back and back at it here on the Paranormal Portal. I hope you had a good break, and thank you so much for being here. Continue to spread the word about the shows. That'd be really cool. We'd love it if you do. There's a lot of different shows now. But the portal continues to grow, and thank you all for your help in getting us here so far. Now, if you're listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, TalkStream Live, remember that Paisley Wild will be coming up next with the spaces between.
Oh,
so
that's right. Dang. Okay.
Okay. Well, be coming up next for spaces, the spaces between. So check that out as well if you're hankering for some great entertainment. She also broadcasts her show on YouTube on youtube.com/the spaces between. So let's get back to the portal. Don, you ready for more portaling?
Let's do some portaling.
We're gonna do some portaling, and let's continue. Let's get it going. What are we going to do first? Let me see. I got a few things pulled up here. What the hell is this? Okay. All right. I got a couple articles here I've got open, and I'm just trying to remember which one we were going to start with. This one. This is from factinate.com, and it's spooky season. Let me see what is this called? I got to go back up to the top, and we're going to just visit this for a while. It says spooky season, terrifying stories to keep you up at night. And they are pretty creepy. We've covered a few of these, and this we started this last time you were here, Don. So this is number 7 is one we're on right now, and it's, again, from factinate.com. So let's check this out, folks. Hope you're ready for some creepy stories. And we'll keep an eye on the call board if any of you get that hankering to call in and share some paranormal fun. We'll be waiting for you. All right, number 7 is black magic. My dad passed away from cancer the day I turned 16 after about 2 weeks in a coma. Oh, man. It was really fast. There was a total of less than 2 months between diagnosis and his passing.
Wow.
That is quick. Wow. Holy man. He passed in the house, and we had a hospice attendant, and my mom was very good about seeing to him in those final days. Anyway, a lot of weird things happened after he passed. But one thing that happened still freaks me out to this day. It happened about 12 hours before he took to bed for the last time. He was in our living room napping on the couch while my mom was in the kitchen cooking. No one else was home. Suddenly, he jerked awake and was shouting for my mom in a very loud, agitated voice, clearly angry with her. Beverly, don't do that. Don't ever do that again. She ran into the room alarmed and asked what he was talking about. And without any explanation, he simply says, "Don't do that. Don't walk past me like that with that long black wig."
Ooh.
Sometimes I think he saw the Grim Reaper. It was the eeriest thing I've ever experienced.
Wow.
Yeah, that's creepy. That was by All the Cheesecake submitted that. So what do you think, Don? Do you think that some people do experience that classic Grim Reaper?
I do. I like to think of Georgie in that show. What was it? Heavenly or something like that. Anyhow, Georgie was a Grim Reaper. She was kind of cute. But, yeah. I think that it's a possibility that... And because that's what we've been seeing all of our life, the Grim Reaper and the, like the picture, the
Sure.
black cowl, the scythe, So, yeah, I mean, that's what we expect to see. That's what's been put in our brain through popular culture. And, yeah, I mean, I could attribute it to part of the, like they say, the DMT dump.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coming to the end of things and you start dumping DMT and having these visions or, whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah. And he, didn't want to... The closest thing his brain could have put to it was his wife with a black wig.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of scary. And walking around with a potentially lethal weapon, but, sling blade. Yeah. But no, I think it's possible, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
He knew his time was coming, and that was part of it, yeah.
It's just very interesting because I've researched a lot of near-death experiences and such where people, and maybe it's because it really wasn't their time. Maybe that's why there wasn't a figure like this that did show up. Maybe perhaps when it is your time for some people, they do experience the whole Grim Reaper phenomena, but that would be a horribly creepy way to have to step into the next world.
Yeah.
It's like, Let's not do it this way, huh? How about a little bunny or something? Give me something happy.
Yeah.
Not a Grim Reaper.
The bunny from Holy Grail.
Not
It's
that
a
one.
killer.
Not that one, but a different one. Cute one. Number 8, smile though your heart is aching. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the United States. I've always been a night person, so I'd find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommate that even the dealers in the city were polite, but all of that changed in just a few minutes one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a heavily patrolled park, quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as on most nights, was completely empty. I turned down a short side street in order to loop back to my apartment, and that's when I first noticed him. In the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man, dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, heading straight for me.
Oh.
Deciding that he was probably intoxicated, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me by. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still, until I could make out his face. His eyes were open, wide, and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky, but that's not what scares me. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. It was so unsettling. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street, and as I reached the other side, I glanced back and then stopped in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looked skyward. Smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half of a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved, until I noticed him again. He'd crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain that he was facing me. I'd looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated tiptoe steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say at this point I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray on my cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I couldn't move. I just stood there completely frozen as the smiling man crept towards me. And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking at the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to my mind. What I meant to ask was, "What do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper. What the f... Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid, but he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling. And then after what felt like forever, he turned around, very slowly, and started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back on him again, I just watched him go until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And that's when I made a horrifying realization. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran it until I was off the side of the road and back into a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his creepy smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look intoxicated, and he didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see.
Wow.
That was by Dan Rent, NT, and 98.
Can you send me that link for that? Yeah, for that.
Yeah. Of course I can. Very, very cool story. Yeah, I keep thinking of like the cartoon Joker face, from Batman. That's what I keep picturing in my head. Close. I don't want this garbage. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Truth Hip Hop.
What's he saying?
He sent us $5.
Oh, God bless you, sir.
Get 2 of these for $5.
God bless you. Thank you very much. Very cool. All right, but yeah, that's a creepy, creepy story.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's kind of weird, but Ingrid Frost.
Ingrid Cold?
Cold, yes,
Yeah.
Cold.
Yep.
Popped through my head, too.
Same thing when the grimacy smile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Although he did actually, talk to people, but yeah, this is very weird. It almost, it's like almost like a circusy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, the whole stilt man and the weird grimacing face.
You're making it worse.
Indeed. Like a mime from hell. Sorry.
I hate mimes.
That doesn't surprise me because you're so fond of clowns.
Yeah.
I figured mines are kind of in that same.
French clowns are the worst, I tell you, though. They're a bunch of...
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. What the hell? Thank you, Gigi.
What did she do?
She sent us $4.99.
$4.99. Thank you so much.
All you can eat. And stuff my face to a fucking beat.
Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. It helps a ton. All right. Number 9 on our list tonight.
Android says, I heard a story just like that one by a state cop on another podcast. The guy he pulled over had a Cheshire Cat grin and pure black eyes, and the cop ran back to the...
Nope.
Got the noped out of there.
Nope. This is Unit 15. I'm noping out. Over.
Negative, Ghost Rider. You're going to make... Nope.
Nope. Sorry.
Nope.
I'm still noping.
You're freaking up. Sorry, nope.
Yeah, you're kind of freaking up. Oh, my God. Yeah, there's some things that you're prepared to see, and there's some things that you're not. But I gotta admit, there would be kind of a curiosity to watch this thing. But I think the moment it started coming towards me, I'd be like, okay, that's good. I'm good.
Done. See ya.
Because to observe something is one thing, but to know that for some reason it's coming your way.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Squatch Doctor.
Yeah.
He had the cocker mouse smile.
Yeah. The
I have a feeling it's going to be a reoccurring theme.
cockermouth grin.
The cocker.
He's got the cockermouth grin.
Hey, where's the applause?
Right there.
Okay.
Yellow button.
Yellow button.
Yellow is applause.
That was for Maggie.
Aw, thank you, Maggie.
She wanted me to give her the clap.
Jeez. All right. Okay. Number 9, for goodness sake. I got to check at the time. Oh, we're fine. It says, I was in Taiwan 1 year when I was younger and had traveled to a busy night market. And these are popular gatherings of food and shop stalls. They usually operate in the evening. Nearby, I spotted a sign for a net cafe or in a 5 or 6 story tall building. Thinking I'd fire off some quick emails, I walked in through the dark, a small entrance of the building. The building was older and hadn't been well maintained, but it's not out of the ordinary in Taiwan. The entrance just had a dark hallway that led to a small elevator. I pressed the elevator call button and entered, and the elevator was uncharacteristically new compared to the building, but I didn't think much of it. Like some Chinese and Taiwanese buildings, there wasn't a 4th floor.
Why?
Something with their superstition. Number 4 is not good. The number 4. Oh, here we go. The number 4 is considered to be bad luck in that culture. So I just read 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, which was usual. I looked for the floor the Net Cafe was at, which was the 6th. I pressed the button. It lurched into action quietly and began the ascent. When it stopped, I figured it was my floor, so I instinctively began to step out. Right before stepping out, however, what I saw outside the elevator stopped me. It was pitch black, only lit by the lights in the elevator. It looked like it hadn't been occupied for decades, with some random pieces of furniture covered with white cloth or similar things. It was a small building, so each floor was single occupancy. I could see pretty much the entire floor from the elevator. Thinking I must have gotten off on the wrong floor, I checked the light that indicated which floor you're on, and strangely, there was nothing.
Wow.
None of the indicators were on. But the floor button to the Net Cafe was still lit, so I knew it hadn't gotten there yet. All this happened within a couple of seconds, and that's when I noticed a figure moving in the distance on the floor.
Uh-oh.
It was not very visible, but I could make out what looked like a person dressed in some kind of gown, moving slowly towards the elevator where I was. Well, I was thoroughly creeped out, so I started pressing the close door button. As soon as I pressed it, the elevator light flickered off, and I was in pitch darkness. I was very close to peeing my pants, and it's actually kind of freaking me out just thinking back to it, but the lights flickered back on a few seconds later, and the door closed. The elevator jolted back to life. A few moments later, it opened again to the Net Cafe. I was beyond relieved at this point. I walked out immediately and sat down at the computer. After gathering my wits a bit, I walked over to the cashier's desk and told them what I saw. The girl working there listened. Her reaction was chilling. Her face turned a bit ashen, so I asked her if she heard of something similar. She told me that she's never experienced it, but some coworkers and occasionally customers have brought it up. Basically, the building has 6 floors, and the 4th floor had a history. Apparently, the floor used to be a hair salon of sorts, until one of the employees took her own life there for some reason. She slit her wrists over the hair wash station. The store continued operations despite the stories of weird appearances. When customers got their hair rinsed, the water would look a little red, like the customer was bleeding, little things like that. And a couple of people reported seeing someone's figure walking away in the mirror, but wouldn't see anyone when they turned to check. Naturally, the business closed down a few months later. The building owner tried to re-rent the place out, but never had any luck. Most businesses are quite superstitious, and no one wanted to rent the 4th floor after someone had lost their life in it, even at a very cheap price. And finally, after dropping the price to nearly nothing, a stationery supply store wanted to rent. During the renovations of the floor, however, several accidents happened. Tools would end up in strange places. A mirror from the previous business shattered when no one was near it. And finally, a worker had his hand jammed between the elevator doors when it closed on him unexpectedly. The workers refused to continue working, and finally, the business left. And the building owner gave up and shut down the floor. He then had the elevator company come in to replace the panel so that the elevator could not go to the 4th floor. Let me repeat that. The elevator was programmed to never go to the 4th floor. It doesn't even have a button. But for some reason, sometimes when people take the elevator, it would go to the 4th floor and the doors would open. And some, like myself, would see a figure walking around in the dark.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the hard part is that's possibly somebody's reality, that they're stuck in this empty, vacant space.
Well, you know.
And the only entertainment they got is getting the doors to open on the elevator and to freak people out.
hey, here comes someone. Stop it right there. Can you go back up to where it talks about the number 4?
Yeah.
Because I looked it up, and so right there, number 4 is considered bad luck. Okay, actually, what it is the actual word for 4, the number 4, is almost indistinguishable from the word of death. Now, somebody in the chat said when they wrote it out, it looked the same. No, it's actually when they pronounce it. So they because if you little misstep, if you say number 4, it could mean go die. Anyhow, so whatever. I got to go number 4. Sorry, but there you have it. So
That's interesting, Phil. Thanks for checking that out. That's great supplemental information. Very cool. We got time for 1 or 2 more here before the break. Number 10, Bed Bath and Beyond. I was once in a hot tub with some friends late at night.
A time machine?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Beyond.
And we were all telling some stories.
Nice.
One of the guys told us this one. It was the story of a girl he knows, and I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but multiple people in the hot tub who knew her verified it was true. So one day this girl was called over to babysit. She did a lot for these people, so it was routine for her. Anyway, she was told to put the kids to bed at 9, and she did. And after she put them to bed, she started watching television and doing homework, waiting for the parents to come home. But then she started hearing some noises coming out of the basement, like pans falling and stuff. And so she just ignored it and thought it was the washing machine or something. Anyways, a little later, she starts hearing the noises again. She decides to call the authorities and tell them she's hearing noises coming out of the basement of the house that she's babysitting at. The lady at the station told her there's a patroller in the area and that he'll be at the house in about 20 minutes. Anyway, in about 5 minutes, she hears a knock on the door. When she answers, she's shocked. It's a full SWAT team. She asked, I thought they were just sending a patroller. One of the guys told her, after you hung up the phone, we heard a second phone on the line hang up.
Oh.
It turns out there was a man in the basement listening to the conversation. The lady in the station waited and heard him hang up, then immediately sent the SWAT team to help.
Wow.
They went downstairs and caught him. He was wanted for multiple serious offenses.
Serious.
Oof. That was by Max Bond Rock. Well, I guess it's a good thing they caught him, but that's way creepy.
I hate those stories. Of like somebody living in your crawl space or, between the floors, or, in apartment buildings, in the walls, and they just, or in the sub basements and the attics. And I just hate that crap.
Those stories really happen, though.
They do.
I was watching one of those shows where it's like captured on camera.
Yeah.
And this guy was noticing that, like,
food was
missing from his fridge and stuff,
toilet was
and
being plugged up.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
stuff.
And so he hid a camera in his kitchen, and sure enough, after about 1 or 2 in the morning, this panel would slide out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
And down would come this lady.
Mm-hmm.
And she would go through the fridge and grab some food and go here and there and go run and use the bathroom and then climb back up. And then he caught the footage and she got arrested. But apparently it was some homeless woman living in his attic.
So part of the reason I hate it is because, I live out in the sticks.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sticks, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But farther out than, it's not weird for me to check the attic area. It's not really an attic you can put stuff in. Just the void space between.
Right.
Yep. And sometimes there'll be a god dang raccoon up in there, and I'm like, God, I was wondering what the hell that thumping was.
Oh yeah.
I'm like 2:00 at night. What the hell? Oh God, you can hear it moving. Well, I used to have my studio upstairs, and I could hear something in the wall.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was just crazy, and it's just I hate that. I'm like, I hope there's not a person up there. Please tell me there's not a vagrant.
Did you figure out how he was getting up there?
No.
So there might still be an opening somewhere.
There might be a dead body up there, a dead carcass of an animal up there.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's
wow.
not like I went up there with a shotgun or anything.
No, I'm just curious how it was coming and going and stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, he was getting in there though.
Oof. Yeah, those old houses, they'll have all kinds of weirdness. That's strange, but I tell you what else is strange. It's already about time for the hour break.
It is, yeah.
So I think we'll come back and look at this some more. It's a huge article. We got a long ways to go.
She was peeing in his sink too. Thanks, Brooks.
Oh, is
that part?
She was talking about that, Brooks was? Yeah. I mean, that's really, really wild. And I mean, she, for the most part, she wasn't like, obviously living in someone's house without them knowing about it is not a good thing, but it's not like she was, stealing cash or that I know of. I don't know that she stole any money or anything, but it was like
stealing food though.
She was stealing food.
Yeah,
yep.
She was stealing food and toilet paper and stuff like that.
So the Paranormal Portal. Keychain. That's
Yeah.
right. That was by Taco. Taco
Yeah.
made those up. Yeah. I
He's-
use mine.
He's in there. He asked how they're working.
Oh, they're working great,
Working
brother.
Great. I got mine right here. See?
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Oh. And then there's mine. It's on my keys. See? Paranormal
Yeah.
Portal.
See, we actually use them. See?
They are fine pieces of equipment, sir. And it makes finding my keys so much easier.
Unfortunately, they're not magnetic.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But no, they're great. Taco, thank you so much for that. And Taco, ladies and gentlemen, also made this beautiful sign
right there.
right up there. And it's all like 1/8-inch steel and plasma cut. It's just amazing. And powder coated. The guy just went way to the extra mile for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the hour break now. So we hope you will come back and join us in just a couple minutes. Go use the loo, and I'll see you back here. Don't go away.
Everybody likes to play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. But I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I am finished with my silence. I am not a stupid toy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Years and years and years, folks. Welcome back, everybody. Taco, I don't know when the next gathering will be. With nothing scheduled currently, but we'd love to put something together as soon as we can.
I guess there's another Squatch Fest in Kelso in January. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, our friend Wayne Stapleton posted it, and I'm like, really? Just like 6 months? It's like we're there. So
They do them every 6 months over there.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Huh?
I have no idea. Oh, but I have to do something.
Hello, Mom. How you doing?
I have to do something real quick.
Okay.
I am personally giving Gigi the clap.
Oh.
Because she was jelly.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's up to you to give everybody the clap down. There you have it. And our hearts and minds go out to all of you. Thank you for being here. We are going through a really cool article, actually. I like this article. Don't you like it, Don?
Yeah, actually, it was a good one.
It's got some really cool stories.
I tell you, that one about that dancing, grinning guy.
Yeah, that's so creepy. It's one of those that's just always going to stick in my head.
Portal Mom says, hi, honey.
Oh, I said hi to her first.
Yeah. Just letting you.
Yeah, I figured she would. It's a family affair here on the Paranormal Portal, so you got me and you got part of the family tree as well. So there's a lot of us here. We're taking over. But ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we're gonna work through some more of this article because I'm having a good time with it.
How's it going? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything? Oh yeah, the phone lines are open if anybody wants to call in. 720-923-0500. Again, the numbers are always up on top of my head. If you're on YouTube, you can see them, but if you're on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, then just remember 720-923-0500. And Don, we want to do some shout outs. See who's here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Who's in do you know who's in TFR?
I gotta find my mouse. Where the hell is it? Here it is. Let's see who's there.
Hand.
It is I Protest One. Kev Baker's in there. How you doing, Kev? Great show tonight, by the way. Thank you very much for starting the momentum that we get to glide right in on. That's awesome. Psycho Dave 321's there. Doug 777 and Delos 1 is there. Yeah. Not Bam though. I don't see Bam.
Well, even Bam's got to take a night off. Wow.
Yeah. So who's in the YouTubes?
So we've got Esset Ramses, Brooks D, Ocean is here. Hi D, Dream is here. Elaine, Gigi Vompson, Android Purity, Maggie 10, Matthew Learned, Patty Troy, Pazuzu's here. How you doing, Pazuzu? Portal Mom's here. Rachel always gets it right is here. Squatch Knocker, Sugar Britches, and Taco Violator. Oh, and the Unknown just popped in. Hey, haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the Unknown has done some of the video elements that you see at the beginning of our shows as well.
Yeah, good stuff.
We are surrounded by talented people, and thank you so much for all the kindness you guys give us from Taco Signs, Unknown's videos. You guys have helped so much, and all of your love.
Right.
That's what really is cool. We love it when you guys come in and hang out. That to us is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
and special shout out to why did I just forget his name? Thomas Golden.
Who?
Thomas Golden. He did the
Thomas Golden.
Yeah, he did some of our t-shirt designs.
Yes, that's right. Is he in there?
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
Just throwing it out there in case he watches lately.
That's right.
Later.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we are surrounded by people that love us, including all of you. Thank you all for your love, and hopefully you're having a good time. And let's get back to this article from Factinate, because I'm liking this one.
I'm factinated.
Why the face nation? All right, so let's check it out. And this is number 11, A Scarring Memory. One of the scariest things I ever heard was when I worked in retail. My store used to do a layaway, and that was when I worked there. And that was where I worked. Yeah, because it's your store. Okay, whatever. Right by the layaway counter, we had 3 bathrooms, a men's multi-stall, a woman's multi-stall, and a family bathroom. Well, only the family bathroom had a door that locked. All the others had a push and pull swing door. I was in the back cleaning up, and I thought I heard screaming, so I walked out front by the counter, and I heard more screaming. I was not sure at first where it was coming from. I ran and checked the men's and women's bathrooms, and they were empty, but I still heard the crying and screaming. I made a terrifying realization. It was coming from the locked family bathroom. I banged on the door, but the yelling, screaming, and crying kept going on.
Wow.
It sounded like a child, and I had no idea what was going on. I called for the manager because I had no way of getting the door, opening the door, since it was locked. This whole time they're still crying, screaming, and banging. After several attempts of trying to open the door, we called for a rescue team. We had no idea what we were getting into, but it didn't sound good. I think it had been about 15 minutes at this point, although it felt like forever. Then the sound just stopped. No more banging or crying, nothing. We banged on the door until the authorities came. When they finally did, they had to kick in the door since we had no key. As we all stood there around and looked in, it was absolutely horrifying. All we saw was blood all over the place.
Ooh.
We were not really sure what had happened at first, but the officers told us to back up. And that's when they pulled out a lady and a child. Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, no. If I had known this story was like that, I wouldn't have read it. Ugh. The child was maybe 3 years old. We all just stood there in shock, and the child was not moving. We all thought he was deceased because of all the blood. They took the lady away in handcuffs and the child to the hospital, and we all had to give statements. And later my manager told me what had happened. She just snapped. The kid wouldn't stop crying, and she just had enough and did what she could to make him stop. He did survive. Oh, thank God. I was sure he was a goner, but he wasn't. She had just knocked him out from hitting him so hard.
Wow.
Oh, dear God. How do you think that's going to help? I mean, a child is crying, so I'll give you something to cry about. Well, that's not going to help. That's going to make him cry even harder. And then it's sadness and confusion. People are just so...
Yeah, and people ask me why I'm kind of, misanthropic. It's because of like that.
There are some broken
people.
Yeah. Anyway, for that to happen right behind the door and not to know what is going on or be able to help them was pretty scary to me. Well, how about you get a freaking key, you morons? If you got a door that locks, you should be able to open it.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez. Ugh. Yeah, that just frosts me. Oh, God. I hope that kid's okay. That's just so heartbreaking. Let's go to the next one. An urgent call, number 12. One morning at 1 a.m., I got a phone call from my little sister's cell. She lived a time zone away to the east, so it was 2 a.m. there. It woke me up. I immediately sensed that something was wrong. I picked up the phone and groggily said, "Hello?" When I heard a muffled woman's voice, possibly my sister's, say, "Please help me." She sounded terrified and desperate, and I immediately thought I was having a take-in moment, and I figured my sister was being kidnapped, and she had found some way to quickly call for help. I didn't know what to do. Should I hang up and call the authorities? Should I yell into the phone? Should I keep listening and try to pick up some kind of relevant information? I really wished I had one of those fancy phone recording devices that the taking guy had right then. I opted to keep listening, and as I did, I occasionally heard muffled yelling and screaming. Much to my horror, her phone must have been hidden away pretty well. Then something strange happened. I heard what was clearly my sister's voice, also muffled, but completely calm. I didn't hear what she said, but it was very casual, conversational tone. And then I noticed for the first time that there was also scary music along with the yelling and the stuff in the background. Turns out my sister had pocket dialed me while watching a horror movie.
No. Oh man.
This was written by this is not Dan.
Wow.
Oh man.
Oh.
Well, that's a good ending.
Wow, that one just kind of drew you in too.
Yeah, it sure did.
That was a good piece of writing right there.
That was. Number 13, a glitch in the Matrix. Oh, wow. This happened when I was in 8th grade. I attended a small private Christian school at the time. School started at 8, but my dad had to work early, so he usually would drop me off at about 7:15. I would then go to before care, where an adult basically supervised everyone who was early. I remember it was an ordinary morning. I felt totally fine and did what I usually did in before care. I went back to the back corner of the cafeteria, laid my head down on the table, and closed my eyes for a few minutes before my school day began. All of a sudden, everything changed. I started experiencing the sharp pain in my chest. The best I can describe it is it felt like my lungs or my chest was having a cramp, like you get when you're in your legs when you're working out or playing sports. I didn't panic, but got out of the chair and quickly walked out of the room and down the hallway towards the restroom. And as I walked down the hallway, the pain got sharper and sharper, and my vision started going dark. The last thing I remember was falling to my knees and realizing I wasn't going to make it to the bathroom. By the time I was completely on the floor, I was unconscious. I have no idea how long I was out. The next thing I remember is waking up on the floor of the hallway, and I quickly realized two things that I, to this day, find strange about the situation. First, the last thought I had before I passed out was realizing I wasn't going to make it to the bathroom, yet when I woke up, I was actually a few steps past the door to the bathroom, but there was more. Second, this was near the end of the before care time period. School was about to start, and the hallway at this point was usually pretty busy, yet when I went to go to the bathroom, the hallway was empty, and when I woke up, the hallway was still empty. I went into the bathroom to compose myself and make sure that whatever happened wouldn't start again. After that, I went back to before care and on with my day. I felt completely fine, and to this day, that pain in my chest has never returned. Wow, that's strange. Mm-hmm. Oof. Enough to make you black out? Ooh.
Phone call.
We have a call. Well, let's get to the call, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to the phone call here. And this is area code 417. You're on the air with us.
How you doing, Ruger? Give us some of your...
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Mr. Ruger, how you doing, brother?
All right, man. I got to tell you what happened last night.
Ooh, love to hear it.
I was working on the computer late, and the wife had already went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was locking doors and turning stuff off and everything, and I'm in the kitchen, and she's in the back of the house. And I heard her yell at me, and she said, is that banging in here? And so I'm about half deaf, and I thought, I think I know what she said. So I head down the hall, and I said, you say something? And she said, roll over. What? Nope, I was asleep.
Wow.
I said, oh. Well, some lady in the kitchen is asking me if the banging's in here. She said, well, it wasn't me, and I said, okay. So I go ahead and lock up the house and everything, go to bed, and I had a nightmare that I have not had since I was probably 12.
Oh.
And I used to have them all the time. And, but seriously, no, I mean, I'm 60 years old. I ain't had this dream in 50 years, man.
Wow.
But anyway, crash out. I'm in bed, my own little world, and all of a sudden, something has me by the ankles, dragging me out of bed.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
And I come unglued, and when I come unglued and start yelling, it turns me loose, runs through the house, and you can hear the front door slam.
Wow.
Oh.
Now, I used to have this dream quite a bit when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
And when it runs through the house, you can hear the whole house just rattle, like somebody's running through the house full tilt. And then the door slam just kerwork. I was so mad when I got out of bed, man.
Wow.
I was upset to say the least. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's in the
Yeah. Hearing old ladies in the kitchen and having dreams I haven't had in 50 years.
Wow. So you're saying that the entire experience was in the dream, even hearing that thumping and slamming of the door.
Yeah.
It's in the dream state. Wow.
No. I was asleep
Right.
and had this dream, but in the dream, and it was the same when I was a kid.
Huh.
And once they turn me loose, it's like, well, they're caught, and so they're out of the house,
Right.
And I can literally hear the whole house shake and the front door slam, just like somebody come in. And,
Wow, that's really creepy, brother.
yeah, it was creepy.
I don't know what to make of that.
She
That's
said
strange.
She said I was having these dreams because of the stuff I listened to on the computer.
Yeah, because it's our fault. You can
No,
blame us. It's
probably
okay.
Well, I know that I was advised by Mrs. Ruger to get back to work when I was sick because she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do with you anymore. Yeah. She said, you got to get back to work because I don't know what to do with him anymore.
That's awesome.
She said, I don't know how long I can keep him sedated.
That's right. So I took that to mean I really took a lot of vitamin C in order to help her out. So.
All right, guys, I'll let you go.
All right,
All right, brother. Thanks for the call. Great to talk to you again.
Yeah.
All right.
Later.
See ya.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is amazing. Cool deal. That's one of those weird things, though. What does that dream mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I always look for meaning in dreams like that, especially repetitive ones, that they must be symbolic of something. And of course, things like that could mean life things going on that you got to get, jerked out of your reverie in order to get moving on things.
Right, yeah, brought back into reality, snatched.
Oh,
into
Mr.
reality.
Kerry Arnold came in. How you doing, brother?
Carrie's here.
Good to see you,
Right
brother.
on.
Thanks for stopping in. Awesome. Hope you had a good show tonight, too, as well. Great to see you, as always, sir. But yeah, that's a really cool dream. I there's got to be some reason that keeps manifesting for him. I mean, it could be I suppose a spiritual thing, but I often think that those kind of dreams are trying to tell you something, and it's maybe you got to get doing something that you've been putting off or whatever. It's like, get out of bed, let's get going. Anyway, just my 2 cents for whatever that's worth. But I think we got time for a couple more before the break again, and this is number 14. Big Brother isn't watching you. All right, let's check out this one. It says, when I was an early teenager, I got involved with the Big Brother's program. My big brother was a guy named Chris, who, like me, was a little odd. A little odd.
Well, welcome to the family.
I know. Should watch the portal. You'd fit right in. So we got along really well and hung out a lot. When we'd been paired for about a year, he told me that he was going on a trip to Baltimore. He also told me the dates that he would be back on. Well, I waited for a few days after his return dates before trying to call him, but when I did, the person on the other line said, there's no Chris here. I looked in the phone book to make sure I dialed it correctly, and I know for a fact that I did because I had the number circled and it matched the number that I had dialed. But the man repeated, we've been living here for a long time. There's never been a Chris here. Chris never returned from Baltimore. And neither I nor the Big Brothers program ever heard from him again.
Wow.
That was by GBWI. That is creepy. Weird.
Right.
So did the guy exist? Or did he not?
Don't know.
Huh.
Carrie says, stop by to say, glad you're better, Brent.
Thank you. It's good to be better.
Yeah.
I'm pretty glad too, brother, but you were also under the weather, so glad you got your feet back under you.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, a lot of us got hit with that. Was it the same thing we got?
I don't know.
Because
I just know you said.
all I could taste and smell for like a week was like fish paste. It was absolutely disgusting.
But it helps you brush your teeth.
Well, no, that tasted like fish paste too. I was like,
Might want to change your brands. Don's fish paste
Get up in the
enamel
morning.
brush.
yeah, whatever. I'd get up and drink my coffee. It's like fish paste. Oh, God.
Just like Mom used to make.
Toss that, get another one. Fist paste. Oh man, I quit drinking coffee.
No.
Quit doing a few things. Well, I'm like, no, that smells like fish paste too. I ain't eating that.
That sounds like a good time to start a diet.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you eat.
be
It could
dead
be
right
cake
now.
and it would be fish paste
Yeah.
cake. Like, okay, well, it's time to start that
My
diet.
goodness, you don't want to know why I don't eat red.
No,
velvet
I probably
cake
don't.
and
You're
everything.
right.
Yeah, that's probably not a good one for the show.
And for the record, Portal Mom's an awesome cook. That's the reason I'm such a chubby boy nowadays, because she cooked well. Very well, very well.
Unfortunately, I cooked for my mom.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're actually a very good cook, too,
Well,
though.
thank you.
I've eaten your victuals.
You know what? I've ate Mrs. Portal's food too, and it's pretty smoking amazing.
Yeah. Still fat. Still fat. All right, number 15, Treasure Island. I think we'll do this one, and then we'll head to the... Oh, this one's pretty long. We might not do this one. I think I can do it in 5 minutes. What do you think,
5
Don?
minutes. I think you can do it. Yeah, let's do it, Long John Silver.
All right, I'm going to take a run at it here. This is around 2006 when I was 10 years old. It was after midnight. I was sleeping in one of my aunt's beds while my brother slept in another adjacent to mine. Across from us were our grandparents' room, and downstairs next to the laundry room was my parents' bedroom. I woke up groggy and confused and needed to pee very, very badly. And suddenly, I heard a voice. With 8 people in the house, that wasn't uncommon. Someone had probably gotten up to go to the washroom and either started talking to someone else or they had answered the phone. Mind you, I was still half asleep, so to me, a phone call after midnight seemed totally reasonable. Well, it turns out that it couldn't have been possible because I didn't recognize the voice. It says that was what immediately woke me up, and I froze. Clutching my blanket while sitting up in bed was a man. His voice wasn't deep, not like my dad or grandfather's, but he kept prattling on about some treasure. He was right outside the door. Excuse me. But he never turned the doorknob or made any attempt at entering any of the rooms. He just kept passing by as if pacing, all the while talking to himself about his treasure. I was terrified and looked over to my aunt, who was sound asleep. I still don't know how I managed not to wet the bed. Eventually, the voice went silent, and I somehow fell asleep. The next morning, everyone was doing their thing, getting ready for work or school, or busy in the kitchen, so I assumed it was all just a dream. I really wish I'd kept my mouth shut. As I'm eating breakfast, I told my mom and grandmother about the voice and laughed at how weird the brain is. Well, they froze. Everyone froze. Turns out the voice was real. I hadn't mentioned his obsession with the treasure, but my grandfather did. As did my mother and brother. Everyone agreed about the treasure thing. Apparently, he combed the entire house but never actually entered any of the rooms. Nothing was taken. All the doors were locked, and all the windows had screens, and none of them were missing. 2 weeks later, while I was helping my grandparents clean out the garage, my grandmother found several empty Coke cans behind the old sofa, which had been up against one of the walls for quite some time. There was also empty bags of chips, candy wrappers, fruit cores, and peels, all of which were taken from the garage. The sofa was high enough for someone to lay underneath. So the guy had clearly been inside our house, inside our garage. We've moved now, as have my aunts, but my grandparents still live there, and we're only about a 3-minute drive from them. We still don't know who he was or how he got in. And most importantly, how long had he been inside our home?
And we were just talking about
I
that.
was just thinking that too.
Just talking about that.
And that was,
Oh my goodness.
And that was by Original Antigenic Sin. Antigenic Sin. Yeah, that's creepy. You got some weird person living in your home.
I'm in your crawl space.
Just come on by. That's double creepy, especially if it's a real person. If it's a ghost, it's creepy enough.
Yeah.
But if it's a real person, I don't know. That's just way creepier to me.
Did you see me in the shower? Kind of sexy, huh? I thought that'd be enough to scare you out of my house.
I would agree, but no offense, of course, but yeah, that's a little twisted. But anyway, we are about to go to the last break of the night, ladies and gentlemen. It's been cruising by all night, and this is our last stop before the portal bus must come to a halt. But make sure you don't go away, because we still got a half hour left to go, and there's still a lot more paranormal in our portal.
Wow.
Kind of funny, no? Come on, guys. Give me something there.
It's like a giant sphinx.
My sphinxter. Sorry.
Oh,
See, I'm getting a little punchy. It's been a long day.
Portal too, you know.
It's, oh, dear God.
It's an evacuation portal.
I tell you, I've worked some paranormal things out. I'm sure I've exorcised a few demons out of mine, but I'm just saying.
Goodness. Wow, see,
Sorry.
you didn't think you'd get that
It's
story
so
done.
lowbrow here, folks. I hope you're. The quality of the entertainment here is just, don't come with high expectations because it doesn't get much better than this. But we are going to go to our last break. We will be back in just a couple minutes, and we'll continue our journey through the paranormal portal. But for those of you on YouTube, of course, you'll get the fine music and video procession. This is the Bigfoot break for those of you that are Bigfoot lovers.
There you go.
If you haven't read all the parts of it, check it out. Those are facts apparently from the BFRO, and they're supposedly accurate.
Yeah.
So anyway, with that, I'm waiting for the bell, and then we'll go off to the break, and we'll be right back for the last half hour of our journey tonight. There's the bell. All right, we'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the home stretch of the show. Actually, it's been going really quickly. I hope you guys are enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying bringing you the journey. Don is enjoying bringing you the journey. We are just...
Mr. K. Moya! Oh, hey, what you got on there, Brent? What you got, buddy?
What's that?
What's up?
What's up, representing?
What's up? Representing the Down Unders.
Wonder when Kate will get his portal shirt.
The Down Unders.
All right.
Oops.
No way.
Yeah. We both have one.
Yep.
Mr. Brent got us each one.
Yep. Bought us some Believe shirts because, trying to support our good buddy and all. So.
Yeah.
Just saying. The portal store, by the way, is teespring.com. The link is in the description.
Get him now.
If you want to check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got the last part of the show here. And we're going through an article on factandhate.com. I think we're going to stick with this because these stories are good. Some of them are really tragic, unfortunately. But some of them are also funny, and some of them are just really weird. It's been a good roll. So let's continue the roll and head back to the article.
Kate says BRB buying a PP shirt. Right? Portal shirt.
There you go. Yeah, don't buy a PP shirt. we don't have that kind of gear.
Yeah, yellow doesn't look good on us.
No. All right, let's get to this article, and we'll get back to it. We're on number 16, and this is making a break for it. I've been stalked by a few creepy guys.
It wasn't me.
No, Don was busy. I can vouch for that. Probably the worst was when I went running to a park, and on the way there was this car that kept turning around and honking and waving at me while I was running up this hill. Once I got to the park, I noticed they were gone, and I started doing my handstand routine. I noticed some guy on the bench because his shirt was pretty unique.
It didn't say Paranormal Portal.
It said Believe, I guess. When I started to leave after about 30 minutes, I was on the street, and I saw that same car again parked across the street. The guy walked out and was wearing that same shirt. He had been watching me the entire time at the park. He started walking towards me after getting something out of his trunk. Yeah, that's a bad sign. Not sure what it was, but at this point, he was halfway across the street before I ran home. Good call.
Yeah.
Yep, that was by Christovian.
He was probably getting his fake cast for his arm. And his, Can you help me pick this up?
Help me load this couch into my car.
Hi, my name's Cade. We love you, Cade.
Oh, poor Cade shows up and starts taking him on the chin. So, Cade, you gotta love you. Number 17, a beautiful night in the neighborhood. One morning last December, around 4 a.m., I wake up to a piercing, shrill, alarm-like noise. Well, in a panic, I jump out of bed thinking it might be a phone or my car alarm or something, but as I was trying to locate the origin of the noise, I realized it didn't change frequency or volume regardless of where I was in the house. Ruh-roh. That means it's in your head.
Oh, boy.
There was no point of origin as far as I could tell with my semi-conscious brain, so I'm stumbling around in a complete darkness with a tiny flashlight when I think to myself, how stupid am I? I just did the cliche horror film thing and started walking around the dark instead of turning on the lights. So I find the light switch, click, 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 click. It doesn't work. I look outside, the whole neighborhood's pitch black. No street lights, no cars, nothing. I grab the phone, there's no signal. I find my mobile and call a friend. They don't pick up, probably because it was 4 in the freaking morning. However, my twisted brain led me to the conclusion that something awful had happened. Panic starts to set in. So there I am. The shrill noise is still there in the background. I'm standing in complete darkness, and perhaps the sleep deprivation combined with the rush of adrenaline caused by my immense fear led me to the notion that the end of the world had just arrived.
Wow.
I thought that whatever's happening didn't matter. The adrenaline was wearing off, and I felt exhausted and pretty down in general. Mm-hmm. So I slinked off back to bed, falling asleep, thinking I'd rather pass peacefully in my sleep than fully aware of imminent emptiness and darkness. Well, that day I found out our power had been cut in the night, which set off a neighbor's home security system.
Wow.
He wasn't home to turn it off, which explains the lack of electricity and the awful noise.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, just sometimes you got to look a little deeper into the mundane.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Before you
yeah,
jump.
it's like I get this phone call from this lady. I think it's my sister. Oh, she pocket dialed me while she was watching a horror movie. That's
fun.
awesome. That was friggin' awesome.
He answers the
Oh, but
phone.
there was something.
There's a muffled voice. Help me, please.
There was something in that reminded me of something I wanted to say, and then I forgot it by the time you got to the end of the story.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let's continue. See if it comes back.
Probably.
Number 18, big show off. My friend and I lived on an island. We were out in this little boat going for a ride. One guy on the island had just bought a jet ski and had purposely splashed us as we're leaving the dock. Oh, what a dick. There's a line of big rocks piled up to shield the boats from big waves by the dock that also blocks people from the open water. On the other side of the rocks was where our ferry came into dock, and we saw the guy on the jet ski riding at high speed to the dock. He was trying to get between two rock piles, but there was a cable running between them just below the surface. He hit it, and the cable ran up the front of his jet ski, decapitating him.
Oh my goodness, that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, cutting like the bottom half of his jet ski out would have been cool, but
Yeah, not the whole decapitating
that's a
him.
little too much. Yeah.
Well, at least he went out doing what he loved.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trying to find the silver lining here, folks. That's just pretty sad. Oh, as I'm chuckling. Yeah, I'm a bastard.
Not a silver lining, but maybe a red mist.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and then it's over. Game over. That was written by Tyler Durden.
God.
That Fight Club.
Can I have his fat? I'm making soap.
Yeah. Number 19, poking around. When I worked for my dad. You don't miss one of them, do you?
That's
you
not it.
You just bam, you're like, got that inappropriate radar. It's like,
It's been that kind of night. You started off with a story about the Sphinx. What do you want?
Android Purity says, tonight we learned the real reason Don thinks he's never had any paranormal experience. He hears noises in his attic and brick walls and ignores it and tries to rationalize. You got to look, Don. LOL.
It was. I'm sure it was a raccoon or even maybe a cat, because I've had a few cats go missing.
Oh,
Yeah.
They just end up materializing in your attic. Of course they do.
Dude, I don't know.
All right, number 19, poking around. When I worked for my dad, I'd meet him at the station in the morning. One time there was a man there begging who came over to us, and luckily my dad handled him well. He looked like a homeless man and gave off a weird vibe, and we're just about to leave the station, but looked back one more time to make sure the man was okay. He was talking to a young woman still begging, and we were listening to their conversation, and the woman aggressively refused to help him. After this, the man pulled out a knife and attacked the woman. Fortunately, she was wearing a big jacket, so the wound wasn't severe, but we immediately called for the emergency services. Yeah,
Wow.
that's not good.
Yeah.
That's all kinds of wrong. I mean, help me, no? Okay, stab me. Stabby. He gets awful stabby when he doesn't get helped. That's not good. Number 20, a surprise in the basement. I was a junior in college. Me and 5 other guys rented the upstairs of a college house. And there were 2 separate apartments on the first floor, and the basement was communal, with a washer and dryer and a bunch of rooms which were boarded up. The landlord said it was because they needed work and he didn't have the money or time. Anyways, I knew the downstairs occupants, some I had classes with and one I worked with. My coworker went up to me one day and asked, "Do you ever hear anything weird in the basement?" Well, come to mention it, I and my roommates had been hearing odd sounds. My coworker said he just heard it again and thought it may be a person. Well, I snuck down, and sure enough, I heard movement in a room. The boards were removed. Now, I was sketched out, but I had no idea what was coming. I threw open the door, and this man, in his mid-30s, who I had never seen before, casually turned around. He was in a nice 3-piece dark blue suit. He smiled and said, "Well, hello there. Fine day today, isn't it?" Honestly, I was so caught off guard by his demeanor. "Who are you? How did you get in here? And why?" I asked him. "Ah, yes, I bet this seems odd. I used to stay here. I just like to stop back from time to time." And he gives the landlord's name. I said hello. And then he swung his jacket over his shoulder and said, "Excuse me," and walked past. I know I should have grabbed his name or called the authorities, but He knew my landlord's first name, which wasn't listed on the property. I called the landlord and asked who this guy was and why he was there. The landlord was speechless. He replied, "Those rooms are boarded up for a reason. I'll have to secure that again now."
What?
What about the guy? I asked him. The landlord just hung up on me. Every time someone asked him about it, he just left, hung up, or changed the subject.
Wow.
Jeez.
And what do you mean those rooms are boarded up for a reason?
I don't know.
What the hell?
I think I'd be trying to move at that point.
Yeah.
Or going ahead and making that call to the authorities.
Wow.
That was by secretly bipolar.
You know what?
Huh?
The house. It's the roof. The roof. The roof would be on fire.
Yeah. Wow.
Burning that sucker down.
Right.
Let it burn. Oh, no.
Wow, that's strange. Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting the guy to be an apparition or something. Just, I turned and he was gone. But no, it was very much a real person. That's the what is it? Was it the dominatrix dungeon or something? The guy was running down there.
What?
I don't know. I'm just saying, what the hell is going on down there?
What? Now I wonder where the hell you went.
No, I was thinking of that movie, the Shades of Grey or whatever. They had a room that was all creepy.
Mr. Gray.
Yeah. Number 21.
Mr. Gray.
Yeah. Number 21, a beastly encounter. When I was very young, we had a particularly nasty snowstorm that wiped out power for days. That happens up here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Occasionally, yeah.
Oh, I don't know how the days thing would work. Man, that would suck. We lived in New England in the middle of farmland, so while our neighbors were within walking distance, it was a short hike to get to them. I don't recall exactly what led to this, but my mother needed to visit a neighbor to lend them something while my father got the generator running. I wanted to go with her, so she put me in my snow sled and pulled me along that way. It was dark out, and everything was covered in snow. When we hit the midpoint of the walk back, we both heard this horrifying howl, like something out of a monster movie, which echoed through the forest. My mother picked me up out of the sled and ran home. We both described the sound to my father, who didn't believe us, and then we found something terrifying the next week.
Oops.
We found a bunch of deer that had been torn apart, just 30 feet into a wooded path near our house.
Wow.
And not by poachers or hunters. I've been around coyotes my whole life. And they definitely didn't do this. Coyotes will pick apart their prey and run off with pieces. And this was 4 or 5 full-size deer with large chunks missing.
Wow.
Yeesh.
Yeah, because I don't think a Sasquatch would do something like that. I think they'd just take
Dog,
one.
man.
Yeah, I think the Sasquatch would just take one and go.
Yeah.
You know, not
Yeah.
like just
Wouldn't
randomly
brutalize
go
the
4 or
whole
5.
pack. Yeah. Garbage account. Wrote that one. Underscores in between, of course. Number 22, monsters under the bed. This should be good. When I was 12, I woke up in the middle of the night to loud breathing under my bed.
Oh, gosh.
I was convinced there was a demon or cryptid or something that was going to eat me. Well, I finally decided to risk it and run up to my mom's room to sleep in her bed. I made it safely without being dragged under the bed. My mom was convinced I just had a nightmare, but the next night, I heard it again. Since it was only around 9 at night, I called my mom so she could hear it. She was about 10 feet away and could hear the breathing clear as day. There was nothing under my bed. Over the next couple of months, I kept hearing it, although not nightly. It slowly started to sound more like purring than breathing. My brother came home from college and checked under my bed and made me lift my hands to double check that I wasn't playing a prank. We never found out what was breathing under my bed.
Wow.
That's weird. That was by the Weirdo Wombat.
What?
I
People's names.
know these names are hilarious.
You know, I I was watching TikTok the other day. Yeah,
Okay.
it must have been TikTok. And it was a baby cam, you know, a nanny cam in a room.
Uh-huh.
And the little girl, like 2 or 3 or maybe 3 years old, was in her little, you know, toddler bed.
Mm-hmm.
And she was reaching under the bed, right? And, you know, she was hanging off the bed, reaching under the bed. And then she got off the bed and got to the side of the bed. And you could hear, there was a microphone. And you could hear her jabbering, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then it looked like she got pulled under the bed and she was calling, Mommy, Mommy. I'm like, oh my God. No.
No. Hey, that's a lot of TikTok fun right there.
Oh, no.
Oof, creepy. Number 23, just a coincidence, right?
Sure.
I was driving down the highway and happened to look to my right. I saw a woman with a bun staring at me with a terrified expression from the car next to me. We've read this one before.
Sorry.
Okay. Before I really figured out how to react, the car pulled off at the next exit. About a half an hour later, a different car with a different driver pulled alongside of me with the same woman in the passenger seat. By then, I planned to pull into the next service station to report it.
Right.
The car disappeared before I could get any details, and I thought there was no point in calling the authorities with no details, so I carried on driving. And literally about 4 hours later, yet another car pulled alongside of me with the same woman, except this time I took one look at her and went as white as a sheet. She appeared to be screaming at me through the window. I pulled over and called the authorities, and apparently they had received 3 other calls about the same woman and car in the same area in the last few minutes. I never heard anything more about it, but I didn't see her again, and although I kept an eye on the news, I didn't see anything about it. Hopefully it was just a giant coincidence, but who knows?
Wow, yeah.
Screw Lucy wrote that one.
Yeah, well.
That's scary because you don't know with all the terrifying stories of human trafficking and stuff. You just don't know. I mean, could be paranormal, could be literally a true life horror, and that's absolutely frightening. A nightly visitors, number 24. About 10 years ago, I was sitting in my room when I heard my doorknob slowly turning. I thought it was just my dad seeing if I was napping, and he was trying to be quiet, and I watched the knob turn and heard the springs in the mechanism squeaking, and then the sound of the latch slide off the metal plate as it was pushed open a bit. I sat up to greet my dad and ask what he needed, except I didn't see anyone. Then the door moved like it was pushed again, and it moved a little more. Through the door, I clearly saw my dad in the living room sitting on the couch. I just couldn't explain it. The door was shut all the way and latched properly. To make things worse, I also frequently saw a shadow figure peer around my door frame. Oh, that is so creepy. The figure was about 6 feet tall, solid black, and the side it peeked from was about 3 inches from the door frame to wall. No one could fit there, and it would just stare at me in my bed. The figure would also keep leaning in and out of view.
No, thank you. No.
That's just it's like, why?
Wow.
Why? I know I've reread that one before from a different list, but yeah, that's from Naughty-Oser. I don't know how to even pronounce that. N0TY0.
Not you, sir.
Not you, sir. Oh, okay. All right.
Not you, sir.
Oh, okay. Not you, sir. Yeah, okay. There you go. Number 25, a road trip of horrors.
Oh, boy.
My family and I were on a trip from Mexico City to Acapulco.
That's scary.
Is it? I don't know.
Mexico City is like the murder capital of the world.
Oh,
they
there
have like 2 million people in the city.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. Yeah. Suddenly, during the middle of the night, the car broke down, and a squad car quickly came to our help. There were 3 officers in the car, and the chief offered to take me to the nearest gas station where I could find a mechanic, and told the other 2 officers to stay with our car. They seemed absolutely not pleased with the order until the chief told them, "Don't worry, there's a woman and 2 children." Well, that seemed to calm the 2 officers. While driving to the gas station in the squad car, I asked the chief what that was all about, but I wasn't prepared for his answer. The chief told me that there had been many accidents in that part of the road, but it wasn't just that. All the accidents involved young men traveling without a female or child. Those who survived said that they crashed because they could see a very beautiful woman next to the road, but once they came close to her, she turned out to be just a rotting corpse staring at them. And they crashed because they were paralyzed with fear.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not what you like to see on your road trips.
No.
Look, kids, out the right window of the rotting corpse. The Peasant King M wrote that one. Wow. That's creepy. Number 26. Not as alone as you thought. I was parked at a dirt turnout in the Arizona desert between Cameron and Page for the night. This is out in Navajo country, I believe, at about 2 a.m. I woke up to scratching at the window of my truck, which went on for about 15 minutes. I was sitting there in the dark, scared, wondering what was happening, with my Bowie knife in hand. After it ended, I waited for another 15 minutes or so before I opened my curtain and looked out the windows. I couldn't see anything outside, and I was still the only one parked there. I got out the next morning, and all I found were some footprints coming to the truck and eventually walking back into the desert. Skinwalker.
Yeah.
That was by Rebel Actual. Yeah, that sounds very, very creepy. Huh. That sounds like some skinwalking, don't you think, Don?
Yes.
All right, I thought so too. Number 27, A Dark Premonition. When I was 13, I had a weird nightmare of me kneeling on asphalt and holding my hand to my mouth in the worst pain of my life. I told my mom about the dream because it scared me so much. 2 years later, I was hit by a car while crossing the street and ended up in that exact position, kneeling on asphalt, holding my mouth while blood poured out. My head had apparently bounced off the rearview mirror that had knocked my 2 front teeth back into the soft palate. I didn't remember the dream, but my mom did, and it really messed with her. I don't believe in premonitions, but I often wonder if maybe traumatic events can echo somehow through time. So _illogical. I think there's something to that, though, right? Because it's a very energetic event where, that pain, that, fear and all of those emotions just, boom, erupt. And so could that work, as an echo through time? Maybe. That's a pretty good possibility. Number 28, A Driver's Nightmare. I live in a small mountain town. It takes 3 hours to get to the nearest city. I make that drive 2 or 3 times a month and have done it for 10 years. I have the trip committed to memory. One night, I was making the drive at 2 a.m. to catch an early flight. I went through a big sweeping curve to the left, and all of a sudden, I was driving on a straight road. I knew there wasn't a straight section of the highway for another 30 miles. I looked around trying to figure out, where am I? There wasn't a single highway sign on the side of the road. My phone had no service, so I couldn't check my location. I looked out the window and realized the high desert scrub trees had been replaced with a thick forest. That's something that we don't have here. I kept looking at the clock for the next 15 minutes while I was driving. For some reason, I was on a straight road through this ominous dark forest when I should have been on a curvy mountain pass in the desert. Right about the time I started to have a full-on panic attack, a sweeping left curve appeared, and I was finally out of the forest, back in the scrub. Well, I chalked it up to drowsy driving and an overactive imagination, but the most terrifying part came later. It happened again 2 years later at the same spot, except this time I wasn't alone.
Oh, wow.
I had my brother riding beside me on a similar airport run, when all of a sudden I was on that straight forested road. This time, we were on that road for about 5 minutes. After about 5 minutes of driving down the dark, heavily forested road, my brother looked around and finally asked, "Where are we?" Mm-hmm. As soon as he asked that, cue the sweeping left curve appearing. And after taking it, we were suddenly back on the desert. Even though I can't explain it, I'm at least grateful that I had a witness.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. Wow. That was by Diesel Down.
That's like dimension shifting right there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's
that
not
is
time slip. It's
absolutely.
Not, yeah. That's
absolutely
dimension
right.
Shifting, yep.
Oh, I didn't realize that wasn't on this one. I meant to be on this one so you guys could see that, but I was just on the Don and I screen the whole time. But anyway.
Oh, you were, yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
but
well.
Oh, well. You just got to see more of us, folks, which maybe is part of the reason you're here, because, we're all family. And I hope you had a good time on the journey tonight, folks. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and please spread the word. Feel free to share these episodes on your social media. That will help a ton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check out the Paranormal Portal Pieces channel. That's a shorter version, excerpts from our long shows like this. And you can find that on YouTube, Paranormal Portal Pieces. Check out the podcast. The podcast is available everywhere. Everywhere.
I just realized that both of those Paranormal Portal podcasts and Paranormal Portal Pieces are all just PPP.
PPP. There's a lot of PPPs.
PPP.
Absolutely. Maggie says, "Thank you. Excellent show." Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, everybody. Spaces between us here. Yep, share and such. Absolutely, and that's coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, The Spaces Between with Paisley Wild. And that'll be following the portal on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream, or on her YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/The Spaces Between. And I tell you what, it's been a great journey. Don?
Yes. I just want to say, enjoy your Jack Daniels and DP there, Taco.
All right, drink responsibly, though. That's all we ask. I don't even know what DP means. I don't think I want to.
Say it again.
DP. Darn practical. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Just like Don. Just be like Don. All right, guys. See you tomorrow night.
Good night.